Naunai Kalame Kalehua, Elele Wanoyana Kanoe, Okanoya, Ean Ine, El Ane, Iotai, I Mai no Oko, I Kikuno Meke Aloha, Aloha, Aloha.
My son, Kupa'a, at the age of 2, he was diagnosed with being special needs, and one of his labels that was given to him was that he had a speech delay, so he was unable to express himself or communicate with anyone. So I had to take that role of being his advocate and ensuring that he got the services and the education that he deserved, well, that he should have. Another way that I was an advocate is I have another child, and he is in Hawaiian immersion education. That was the pathway he chose. And when he was in kindergarten, he was told that he may have a Hawaiian immersion education if his name was selected from a hat. And so I wasn't okay with that. So a group of us got together, and we found that holding signs and expressing how we felt was a way to be heard. So tonight's workshop is going to be helping us learn the different steps of advocacy. And going to school, especially at this institution, there's a lot of things that students can help faculty and staff and other Native Hawaiian services with. You may think that you don't have a voice, but you have the loudest voice on this campus. So hopefully after tonight, you'll be able to learn, and I hope that you're inspired and you take the time and you see and look around at what's happening here on campus, and maybe you get that passion to advocate and to help better what's happening here. And not just here, it can be applied in any way in your life. And I really have to mahalo Carrie Ann, who's going to be coming up after me. Carrie Ann, she is going to be teaching us the different steps and helping us find and learn the best ways to advocacy. And I also want to thank all the other Kaiau workers who are helping and allowing us to have this workshop here, and for making the folders that you guys all have. And I'm going to turn the time over to Carrie Ann.
So I just want to thank Ka'iwi for giving me the opportunity to share with you some advocacy tips. And really, Ka'iwi can lead the whole workshop. Actually, many of you can, because many of you are already have advocated for things, have been advocates in different phases of your life, whether it's at home, at school, in the community. So these are just additional tips, some of which you already know, some of which you already practice, but just to enhance those skills and sort of also to come collectively together, because we know that one voice is powerful, but many voices is far more powerful, right? With that, we're going to kind of get going. So this is kind of just a roadmap of what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk in general, what is advocacy? What are some specific tips that you can use, whether you're working as an individual or collectively as a organization, campus club, whether you have a community organization, whether if it's a larger state initiative, national, international. And then we're going to do an activity that you guys are going to work on tonight so that you can practice with you. Okay, so brief introduction. My name is Carrie Ann. I'm the counselor from Hawaii. In terms of advocacy, you know, I always tell people that each of us is so powerful, that you're an agent of change. And some of that is known to your parents, your family since you were little. So in terms of kind of my advocacy pathway, from when I was very little, I'm one of 4 children. I have an older brother, older sister, younger sister. And from when I was little, I would ask questions like, why is so-and-so this happening? Or why is this happening? Why does my brother get to stay up later? You know, it's not fair. Is it just because he's a boy? You know, that was one of the things I first started advocating about. Like, is it fair that only he gets certain privileges because he's a boy versus girls? Then I started noticing when I was going through school, I always asked the why questions. I remember reading, I think it was like 4th grade U.S. history, and then started reading about, quote, Native Americans, right? Think about to the first textbook you have in U.S. history. The very beginning chapters, right, it talks about the different Native Americans, Plains Indians, Northwest, Southwest. And then all of a sudden you go to the next chapters and they start disappearing from the story. So you think about, I started questioning, what happened to the native peoples of this land? And how is this similar to what's happened here in Hawaii? So I think for me, those kinds of questions has always kind of naturally led me to ask the question, why? And when I would say to my mom things like, this is not fair. And she would say, well, sometimes, Karen, you have to accept the fact that life isn't fair. That's just how it is. And when I was little, of course, this is probably perceived as being sassy, but I would tell my mom, but Mom, if something is not fair and I can do something to make things better, to change something, then that's what I want to do. So I've always kind of looked at myself as being somebody that can make a change, and I hope that you can see that within yourself too. So, So I want to talk right here in your groups. You don't have to switch seats. Well, maybe you should share. If you can sit closer to Naja. If you can just talk to the person next to you. What does advocacy mean to you? You know, advocacy is really just a fancy word for like pushing for something, wanting to make a change, whatever your cause might be, and that could be many things. What does it mean to you? And maybe share an example with the person next to you, ways that you have advocated for some kind of change or difference. It can be something smaller scale. It could be within your home. Maybe like, Mom, I deserve a later curfew.
My example of advocacy would be someone who pushes forward in something that they believe that will work, and you will push and fight and do everything in your power and will to make it happen. So my example was, I attended the last workshop we had like this, and I was very moved and motivated by the workshop that I pushed forward for our Hawaiian Club here on campus to we were really inactive on a lot of it, and we wouldn't like do our activities, our culture activities, or even have like club meetings. So this semester I hit the board running, and I made sure that we had our club meeting the first week. We planned our 3 activities for the semester. So we're being active in our club, and that's what I did as an example to advocate for what I believe in.
There's no right or wrong answer, so just think about it. You know, sometimes you see people alongside the road, right, with signs, protesting. Sometimes that might be effective, maybe sometimes not, right? You think about it, people are different. Someone might pass by the sign, say, okay, expand Hawaiian language program. Some people are beeping the horn, throwing you shakas, right? And then some people might be showing you the finger. I mean, that's the reality of advocacy. The bottom line is that if you take a stand on anything, there usually will be some people who support and some people who oppose. That is life. But sometimes you gotta take a position to take a stance. So just think about, again, what you see in the community, what you see on, this is like election season, so there are all these campaign ads. Some people focus on positive messages, some people slam their opponent. What do you think might make some strategies more effective than others? Again, no right or wrong answer, but maybe just share with one another. So again, these questions are open-ended. It's meant to stimulate conversation, discussion, debate. There's no one right answer, but this in general to me kind of sums up what advocacy is. Somebody else wrote this, but would someone like to read it out loud for the rest of us?
Thank you. Me.
Oh, I like this volunteer spirit. Thank you.
Okay. If you give me a fish, you will feed me for a day. If you teach me to fish, then you will have fed me until the river is contaminated or the shoreline seized for development. But if you teach me to organize, then whatever the challenge, I can join together with my peers and we will fashion our own solution.
So that's why we're here, and that's why we want to learn to